Sip Atmatray, Sip Rekha, Sip Rajesh, and I can't see the rest of you. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Welcome, Sip Bliko. I see Bliko coming, I see Sagi coming. Today we have an interesting conversation. It's a series of 2 conversations, today and tomorrow. Administrator, can we have the topic? The topic for today's conversation is, do we have to give up relationships to attain liberation? So the topic I'm repeating, do we have to give up relationships? Do we have to give up relationships to attain liberation? So let us start. Who wants to go? I don't have anybody's hand up. So who's the champion for today? There is Chidanand. Sir, Chidanand, let us start, sir.
Shivoham Guruji. We don't have to give up relationship. We have to only divinize all relationship.
Divinize. You use divinize it because divinize and demonize are very dangerous combinations.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
we have to use a divinize.
Yes. Because every relationship,
so
moment you
Chidanand
start
says,
saying SIP, once you in the path of liberation, one has to see SIP in all relationships. And moment you do
beautiful
that,
answer, but yeah, Chidanand, beautiful answer, but a lot of people have a practical problem where they can't divinize relationships and they struggle. So we are going to try.
That is a part of Pirulu. That purification has to happen at that stage. Otherwise, you cannot dissociate yourself from Bhoga. In fact, in Prema Yoga, what we call Bhoga has to be looked as Prema Yoga. So that itself you divinize. Every human relationship with human beings or any living creature, if you are able to divinize,
let me ask you a practical question. So you are in samsara and you have a lot of relationships. If you divinize, that means you can still get to the state of enlightenment without a problem.
Yes, yes. Initially, for 10 years back, I was having this basic problem. But once I landed upon Vivekananda's teachings and his life, this thing, suddenly I realized that divinizing helps you. It helps you a lot. And, to go away from Bhoga and be in Prema Yoga. Now, once I attended this Zoom call, that word was missing and suddenly you gave this Prema Yoga, which in fact sums up all.
Prema Yoga is a good filler. According to me, when you are having the 4 yogas and then you have got Bhoga, what Prema Yoga did was it removed samsaric Bhoga and made it into Prema Yoga. So you are in the samsara and you are in Prema Yoga. You love your beloved, you love everybody as God, you see God in one and all. So that is a beautiful way. But the question still remains, do we have to give up relationships? What about toxic relationships? What about relationships which are non-spiritual? What about relationships? I see many people on this call who are struggling, and I want those people to speak up today. What about we have many people on the line. We have Bliss, Bliko, and Samatma. Bliss, and then Bliko and Samatma.
Hi, Shwam dear.
Yes,
I think we have no choice to put sometimes people out of not life, because some people are very toxic people and we cannot give let them in your life, because they play always drama and they are always in the negative talk, and I don't know how to explain really, but
so you are very clear. Some relationships, according to you, Bliss, we have to give up, because if you don't give up, it's not good, right? So you have a very valid point. So I'm putting both the points on the table. Chidanand said to divinize relationships is very valid. Bliss says we have to give up toxic relationships. Again, very valid. Bliko.
I would like to add here, as an auditor, I don't know how many enemies I must have created when auditing so many people. But I suddenly realized toxic people are those who, it's a way you automatically learn to deal with toxicity. That's instead of moment I say he's toxic, that means the ego is in me. that I'm not able to see divinity anywhere. So you have to learn to deal with it. Yeah, I don't say that because of some karma, some this thing, these people have come in association.
No, Chidanand, see,
So
let me
that
say,
is where
what you
agami
say-
karma is to deal with it.
Sorry, but I think if these people, I don't know how to say, but remove my peace of mind, and they are not really
if they steal,
good.
if they steal your consciousness, if they make you
Yeah.
away from Pirlu, then they are not, it's not possible to attain enlightenment and not
No.
possible to attain liberation. So Chidanand, there are two different opinions. Let us get some more opinions. What you say is right. I'm not disputing Chidanand. But what if, Chidanand, I'm asking you a question before I go to Bliko. What if there's a relationship that's pulling you down? Chidanand, you are sticking onto a relationship, you're attached to a person, and that person is going in the opposite direction. What do you mean by divinizing? You can't divinize that relationship.
I ignore it totally. So why should I? Basically ignoring so many things in the world.
Ignoring is giving up, not Chidanand. Ignoring means you have to give up that relationship.
Yes, in some sense give up, but suppose the person comes in front of me, I don't avoid him and walk off.
No, that's not a relationship. We are talking of a relationship. See, today when you build a relationship,
I got
you
your
become
point.
obliged.
Yes.
You become obliged to that relationship. Suppose, let's just say, suppose somebody's wife is toxic. Somebody's wife is taking them in the opposite direction. Somebody's wife is killing their spirituality. Somebody's wife is stuff. It's the man writes a beautiful book to ask care, and next day the wife tears it into pieces and throws it. Then how do you deal with such a situation?
That's you have to avoid the person, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay. Bliko. Yes, Bliko.
Shivoham, everybody.
Shivoham.
Actually, my answer already covered up, but I will put my point. So this giving up relationship is only required when somebody is stopping you from progressing in your spiritual path to attain goal. So that relation has to be cut like a rotten, fruit. We have to cut it, otherwise it will rotten you also, and you will not progress. So those type of relationship which stops you from progressing has to be given up. All other relationship, like Chidanand said, we can divinize it because they are not coming in your way, day-to-day progress, day-to-day activity, and they are supportive. So no problem. You can be detached and keep the relationship. So this giving up from outside is only required to those who are toxic relationships. Otherwise, all the relationship has to be given from inside. Inside, you have only one relationship with divine. That's the thing. And you see divinity in the others, then there is no relationship. There is only one relationship.
So good. I like Bliko is taking an in-between path. Bliko is saying that we should try to divinize relationships, what Chidanand said, and we need to cut toxic relationships or rotten relationships. So he has got a combination of Chidanand and Bliss. Bliko is a mix, is joint heads and tails, and quite valid. I don't know what the others want to say, but let me ask. I think first came Samatma and then Yogini. Yes, Samatma, then Yogini.
Shivoham, sir. We have to cut off all relationship. We have to look at all the relationship with detached attachment. But the ones which are toxic, which are really pulling us down, we have to avoid them as far as possible. And when there's a circumstance where you just can't avoid, you have to just remember that everything is a drama. So just don't allow them to take your peace of mind.
No, okay. You are saying something very correct, but theoretically it is correct. What if that person is practically destroying your Pirlu?
We have to avoid the relation.
But even though you avoid it, they are destroying it. Then what do you do?
Then I should not allow that to touch me. I have to make myself so strong that whatever they are doing does not touch me or bring me more down.
So therefore, we can't ignore this point. So we start with the principal statement that you see SIP in one and all. You try to divinize your relationships. You try your best to keep everybody as a manifestation of SIP. Then there are some toxic relationships. You try to avoid them. You try them not to affect you. But they are so much full of NEP, or they are taking you away from liberation. They're taking you away from realization. They're taking you, suppose you have somebody in your life who's laughing at you every time on your spirituality. Every day they're laughing at you, morning, afternoon, evening, night, they're laughing at you. Oh, what nonsense, what idiot, what rubbish, what is this? Then how much time will you try to make that relationship coexist?
Then we have to cut it off.
So that is we are trying to get to the entire answer, because again, we don't touch this question for some time, right? Maybe next 1 year we don't touch this question. See, every Zoom call, we try to go one step forward. So today we are talking about relationships. Tomorrow we are talking about one more subject. We will talk about it tomorrow. I won't confuse you today. But it was a series of 2, Wednesday, Thursday, before we go on to the main subject of Friday, which is on death. But it's a big question mark. I myself in my life have had relationships which I have tried to mend, tried to deal with, but sometimes they don't work. Then if you try to let a toxic relationship or a non-spiritual relationship, I'm saying 2 relationships, a toxic relationship is dangerous because it's poison. It's creating poison in your life. It's robbing your peace. It's robbing your happiness. Then a non-spiritual relationship. Suppose Samatma, you have a relationship with somebody and that person is destroying 30% of your time. Suppose you don't want to go for a wedding, they're taking you for a wedding. You don't want to go for a movie, they force you to go for a movie. You don't want to go shopping to a mall, they take you to a mall. You don't want to sit and watch a television program, but you're forced to. Whoever be the person in the relationship, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a child, whoever. So are you going to just drag on with that relationship?
So then I have to put my priority in front and say no. I have to put a full stop to it over there.
Yeah. So when you put your priority, therefore that relationship kind of gets put behind, because then the relationship doesn't work. With Samatma's discussion, I'm bringing one more point. If you can convince your partner in the relationship, whoever be your relationship partner, to come on board, to come and understand liberation, to come with you for a Zoom call, to come with you for a spiritual talk, to do meditation with you, then you have won the battle, you won the war, then you have divinized. Then you have divinized the relationship, what Chidanand started. Thank you. Yogini and then Girish.
Thank you.
Shivam, sir.
Shivam, Yogini.
So being on the spiritual path, if I'm living in the aura of the Jagat Mithya and Prabhu Satya, then will these relationships really affect to stop me from getting liberation?
You tell me. You tell me. You have got some family. You have got some family members who are laugh at you if you're doing your spirituality. They force you, for example, they force you to come with them for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours in a non-spiritual, non-useful subject. Then how do you deal with it?
Then shouldn't you have the courage to get back? That no, I cannot.
Excellent. So you have another beautiful answer. Yogini says, I maintain the relationship, but I have my courage to put my foot down and say no. Beautiful relationship. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, if that's a healthy relationship, then you can have the courage to put your foot down. But suppose you're scared that it will affect the relationship, and you give in to it. It affects your liberation.
Yes, it will affect my liberation.
So then you decide, you want to affect your liberation?
I have to have the courage to say no.
Yeah. And the problem is when you have the courage to say no, sometimes the relationship remains, sometimes the relationship doesn't remain. And if your desire for liberation is very strong, you will have the courage. If your desire for liberation is weak and the relationship wins over, so what happens, Yogini? The relationship wins over, your courage loses. At the end of the day, what happens?
I won't get my path.
You will not get liberation and you will have your relationship. In the end of the day, you will have your relationship, but you will have no liberation.
Sir,
That's a
but
choice.
Sir, but is this relationship really healthy if it is taking me away from my path? It is not a
That is
healthy
the problem, right? The problem is that in the spiritual path, it is quite common to have a partner who's non-spiritual. It's not very easy to have partners who are spiritual.
So it is up to me to decide, right? Whether I'm risking the relationship or I'm risking my own path.
Correct. That's exactly the question of today.
The
So what are you
choice
willing
is-
to risk?
I'm on my path. Nothing can move me from here.
Yeah. So you are saying you are willing to risk the relationship, but you will not give up the path.
Yes, of
Then
course.
you are lucky. Then you are lucky because then you have got the resolve.
Right.
There are many people who are very relationship oriented, and it's not wrong. They've grown up with a relationship for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Then what do? Somebody very close to me.
Right.
Somebody very close to me. I told, I say sip. Huh? And what is this sip and sip and piss and sip and piss and shit? So what do I tell him? Somebody who's very close to me. Somebody who's as close as blood to me. What is this piss and sip and shit? I don't know what is this piss and sip and shit.
We should not discuss with such person who doesn't realize.
Which means that you have to give up the relationship.
Yes. Right.
Girish.
We need not give up any relationship so as to attain liberation. But we should not demand or expect anything out of the relationship. And we must have 5 Ds: discrimination, dispassion, detachment, discipline, and desire for the divine. These points we have to take care in any relationship. Then it will not be a hurdle for our attainment of liberation.
Girish, you are talking from a state of being independent. You talk to people who are in active relationships, they will tell you. If you have these 5 Ds, what are the 5 Ds you said?
Discrimination, dispassion, detachment, discipline, desire for the divine, and no expectation or demand.
If you have these 5 Ds and you are in a relationship, you will have the 6th D. You will be out of the door.
Yes, that is liberation. That is liberation.
Or you live like a sannyasi, not grasta.
No, see, Girish, what happens is, in a relationship, what we said, first option, the relationship, the partner buys in. The partner supports you. Suppose it's your mother supports you. Suppose your mother tells you, go to hell, you rubbish, nonsense fellow, I will not give you food, you go. If you want, correctly 8 o'clock, she will keep hot chapatis on the table. And correctly 8 o'clock, she will give food. By 8:40, that food will be worth for dogs to eat. Then what do? There are people correctly in your spiritual time, they will do opposite things. Then what do?
Let go.
Because such people don't want you to be on the spiritual path because they are like the mind. The mind knows the moment you realize the truth, the mind doesn't exist. So the mind does not let you realize the truth. There are people who are very scared of your liberation because the moment your liberation, they know they have no place. They're very scared to lose you. They're very scared that you. So many mothers tell their child, "Tum kya nalaik, spirituality nalaik ho." Means you're useless, nonsense fellow. You are making mera muh kala karega spirituality karne se. What kind of this is the kind of thing we tell our children sometimes. Rekha. Shivoham.
I was abused by my dear one for this journey. Very badly.
Okay. Very badly.
Yes, but I don't care because I have made up my mind. I'll give up any relationship for spirituality.
See, so here you have a practical person. So Rekha, since a lot of people are talking, I want you to be very honest with us. Are you saying that before you gave up the relationship or before you put it on the back seat, did you not try enough to make them understand, to convince them, to explain to them? Did you try enough?
I tried, but not enough, because I know that person will never understand. Because
No. Are you saying you did? No. You did not try enough, or they were not interested in listening?
they were not interested in listening also.
Okay. So that is the problem. Otherwise, you would have tried now. If somebody is not interested in listening, then you feel, then what is the point in breaking my head on a
Yes.
wall?
Yes. I would
And they
have
keep
tried
making
enough, but
fun.
then, yes. But I
See,
will
so
not.
yeah. So Rekha, sometimes it's not
Hmm.
fun to lose a relationship.
Yes, it's
Sometimes
not.
it's a most of the time it's a blood relationship.
Yes, it's a blood
Sometimes
relationship
it's
only.
not a.
It's a blood
See,
relationship.
they're two different. There are
Mm.
two difficult relationships. One is a
Mm.
blood relationship,
Mm.
and second is a love relationship. These are two very difficult relationships. One is a blood relationship, so you feel you're obliged to that blood relative. And second is a love relationship. You fear the loss of love.
Mm.
But if your liberation is very important in your life,
Mm.
and there's a realization that this natak is not important, this is a leela.
Yes.
No, I'm not going to get what is basically it's a test. Nah? It's a
And
test whether we are going to fail in this leela or we are going to succeed. And like who said just before this, you don't have to give up the relationship. Yeah.
And I have realized that every relationship is temporary in this world. It's not.
That is the truth. Nah. That is the scientific truth, because if somebody dies, if they are one husband and wife, if there are two of them, one will die, the one will have to be left alone. It's not that husband and wife will die together. No, it's not going to be like that. So we have to learn. But I like what Girish said, but I didn't approve his 5D method. But what I liked is he said we don't have to really give up relationships, but we need to put our foot down. We need to put our foot down. Of course, you can't put your foot down to the 5Ds, because you have to.
But as you said, if they stop us from this liberation, we have to put our foot down.
So Rekha, we have to put our foot down, but keep Chidanand's point first. The first priority is try to divinize a relationship.
Yes.
Suppose I tell my mother, this is what I'm doing and I want to do it. And I tell my mother, and my mother tells, you're mad, you're an idiot, you don't do it, it's rubbish, it's nonsense. Again, I try, I tell her I want to do this. Purposely, on a day I have to do this work, she will call for dinner with 20 people of my relatives and I have to go in, which I cannot miss. Then what happens? That means eventually I have to move on. I can't be stuck.
Yes.
Or I have to leave my liberation. One of the two. Okay, interesting. We've got some very good stuff today. I hope it's helpful, but we still have a lot of time. So other questions, please. Who wants to add to this question or other questions? And nothing like some personal experiences, maybe not be you, but somebody in your family, some friends, some experiences, it will help.
Yeah, when it comes to blood relation, giving up, as you said, is not easy. But dealing with the problem is very easy. Either you can isolate yourself or try to, so you don't have to antagonize or, live in a very toxic environment. If you are able to deal with it, deal in the sense that you are 99%, I find people will be able to manage the situation. But if somebody is there with tongs to, just what we call rip you apart, then you will have to say it is really toxic relation. But sometimes it's not toxic.
There are two
they don't
types
agree with your path. That is a different situation.
But honestly, there are two types of situations. One situation which is adaptable and one which is not.
Yes.
So we have both the cases.
I have gone through that, or I'm going through that, but there I feel it is a part of our prarabdha which we'll have to live. We'll have to, like you get a body pain, you get some disease. You don't cut off your this thing. You deal with it, right? That pain, you deal with it, and you try to divinize it. Divinize in the sense that okay, it's a part of my leela which I have to now, somehow.
Hold on. No, there's a difference, Chidanand. If you have a body pain, you can't let it go. But if you have a relationship, you can let it go. There's a lot of difference.
Let it go means basically you isolate yourself.
Whatever. But for pain, body pain, you can't isolate. You can take a painkiller, but you can't isolate yourself from body pain.
Yeah.
Correct? So there's a little difference in this too. Shilpa and Bliko. Yes, Shilpa, Bliko, and Rajesh.
What is it about spirituality which bothers a non-spiritual partner so much that they start becoming a hurdle in the spiritual journey of a partner who is spiritual? What is it about spirituality?
They don't understand spirituality. They don't understand spirituality. And then if somebody is reading a lot of spirituality, being on a Zoom call, watching a video, listening to a bhajan, they think it's nonsense. They say, come on, let's go for a beer. Come on, let's go to the beach. Come on, let's go and have chai pakoda. Come on, let's have biryani. Come on, let's go for a shopping mall. Let's go. They want to.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you short here. Can a spiritual person not enjoy a beer or a chai pakoda or a samosa?
Of course, who said they can't?
So that's why I'm trying to understand what is it like that a spiritual person can do all of these things. So what is it specifically? Because I've seen, like you're giving an example.
Here's the answer. Here's the answer, please. A spiritual person can be on this Zoom call and have chai pakoda.
Yeah.
But a non-spiritual person only wants chai pakoda.
Correct.
So that's why they don't want this.
But I'm sure in a relationship, this particular, like a Zoom call, like 40 minutes, everyone, at least in nowadays, they would understand that a person, an individual can have those 40 minutes to themselves to do whatever they want.
So if you have it, then what? Then your relationship is divinized. This is what Chidanand said. If there's a buy-in, then there's no problem at all. No?
So are we saying that there are people who do not allow this 40 minutes as well? Like
there are many people who don't allow even 4 minutes, who will not allow even 4 minutes, not 40 minutes.
My God, God bless them. How are they living?
Okay. Rajesh, somebody else was there, but Rajesh.
Sir, you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I just quote one incident, in a movie. So the villain asks, he says, "Isko maar do. ये मुझे बहुत परेशान कर रहा है." तो वो बोला, "इसको तन से मार दूं या मन से मार दूं?" तो उसे बोला, कुछ जिंदगी को इस तरह से एहसान कर लिया, कुछ को मन से काट दिया और कुछ को तन से काट दिया. If you go away also, if he's living here, then what is the fun of that relationship?
So therefore, a spiritual person, Rajesh, what do you say, recommend? Therefore, based on that, your villain story, what is your suggestion and recommendation?
मन से काटना बहुत important है. In some places, तन से नहीं काट सकते. You have to stay. You have to live. You have to use the spiritual aspect of it.
So
let me ask you. Let me challenge you on another.
Let me challenge you.
One second. So I'm going to challenge Rajesh on the two circumstances. एक को तन से नहीं काट सकता है, उसको मन से काटो. और जिसको तन से काट सकता है लेकिन तन से नहीं काटता है और मन को मारता है, फिर वो क्या है?
जो मन को मारेगा वो कुछ नहीं रहेगा ना.
No, that's my point. जिसको तन से नहीं काट सकता है. Suppose you can't cut your mother. तो तन से नहीं काट सकता लेकिन मन से काट सकता है. बट जिसको तुम मन से काट सकता है, जिसको तुम तन से काट सकता है, maybe your neighbor, it may be your neighbor, लेकिन you continue to live in that neighborhood for the next 20 years and like a dog that's groaning, you keep on groaning because that bloody neighbor of yours is troubling you like mad. Then then what about that? Then should you have live in that neighborhood or should you change your house?
Change your house, no? There the shreyas and prayers comes, na?
Correct. So therefore we have to, this is what we have to use our intelligence. See, the point is very beautiful. What Rajesh brought a new, जिसको हम तन से नहीं काट सकते हैं, उसको मन से काटो. लेकिन जिसको हम तन से काट सकते हैं, पहले तन से काटो. Or the point is this: we have to make such a choice that our liberation is not affected. I honestly, for me, it hardly matters. Tan se, man se, I'm not bothered. I have only one objective. My objective is nothing should come in between my liberation journey. Nothing should come in between my liberation journey. I don't honor any relationship, any. It may be blood. It may be the closest relationship of my life. Nothing is more important. For me, my pirlu is important. Pirlu, anybody coming in between of pirlu, I will chop it off. Now, that doesn't mean that you take it so aggressively like I'm saying. But I'm saying, of course, you first try to divinize it. Of course, you make an attempt. Of course, you ignore. Of course, like I just love what Rajesh said. जिसको तन से नहीं काट सकते उसको मन से काटो. I'm giving you an example of a mother or father. What can you do? You can't kill your mother and father from your presence, no, but they are not spiritual. They are unwilling. You know, somebody came and told me, I am trying to follow a spiritual path. And for me to follow a spiritual path, I want to be vegetarian. Every day, my mother in my plate, she keeps chicken and fish and mutton, even though she knows I'm vegetarian. Every day, she will put chicken and mutton and fish, and she will put nothing else. What do you do? Okay. So, I mean, there are very strange things that happen in this world, because what happens sometimes, some people are very single tracked. They just don't understand. They don't for example, let everybody, if your son likes to eat roti and dal, let your son eat roti and dal. Why you force them to eat chicken and mutton? Let them eat what they want to eat now. Why do you want to force them? Okay, so we have 5 more minutes for some more questions. So this subject of relationships is very important because it affects liberation. We all have relationships. And if our relationship is toxic, then there's a problem. Yes, please.
Shivoham Mayor.
Shivoham.
His mother must be having that fear that her son is going away from her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, that is what I wanted to come from. The mother is doing this because the mother does not want, you know, Rekha, it is none other than Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara was wanting to be a brahmacharya, and his mother told him, not till you see my dead body. Adi Shankara requested, begged his mother, Amma, give me permission. I want to be brahmachari. I want to be a yogi. Give me permission. The mother said, no. Not till you cross my dead body. One day, he was swimming in the river. It's written in the history book. He was swimming in the river, and the crocodile caught him by the leg. Then he told, Amma, you did not let me live as a brahmachari. At least let me die as a brahmachari. I'm dying. Crocodile has got me. He shouted, give me the permission to take the vow of brahmachari. And the minute the mother told, Tathastu, you can be brahmachari. And he said, I take the vow of brahmachari. In that second, the crocodile opened his mouth and he was liberated. And he became Adi Shankara. These are all stories. These are stories. So yes, the mother, see, many of our so-called partners in life do not want us to be on the spiritual path because they fear that we will go advanced. Many of them do not want. If they say they don't want, it's fine. Then there can be a compromise. There can be togetherness. But some of them do not want. They do not want you to go on the spiritual path. Bliko.
So it is like you said, it is the relationship we can compare with the mind. So mind is sometimes quiet, mind is sometimes cooperative, mind is sometimes Satan. So when it is Satan, we have to kill the mind. There is no other way. shut the mind.
Your mind or your partner's mind?
Our mind. We are talking about mind. Mind and relationship are close together. Like if you take a relationship as a behavior of mind, it is like that. If the relationship is Satan relationship, then you have to kill it, or you have to go away.
So you're bringing mind as a relationship, is it here?
Relationship, yeah. Our relationship is closely to the mind, right?
Yeah.
And it is troubling us. It is troubling us.
Blico has got what they call a googly. Blico he says, do we have to give up the relationship to attain liberation? He's asking relationship with my mind. If my mind is shaitan, I have to kill the mind. I have no choice. Look at Blico saying, forget about blood relationships and other relationships. If it is my own mind, if my mind is toxic, if my mind is coming in on the way to my liberation, I'll kill my mind. But the problem is the mind is like a phoenix, and mind will come back. But good googly, Blico, good Yogini.
So certain toxic relationship which we have, which I have come all the way down, and suddenly you have to see that person again. How to react with such people?
You don't have to react. First of all, you must respond, right? And a relationship does not, let me tell you one thing. In spirituality, the relationship does not go from love to hate. The relationship goes from love to indifference. You don't hate anybody. Suppose it's a blood relative. I may have a problem with a blood relative. I don't hate them. But I don't let the relationship stop my liberation. Our problem is this. The problem is that we don't want our liberation to be affected under any circumstance. Suppose you don't mind your liberation being affected, then you're not recalled, then this whole discussion for you is meaningless.
But that is where the mind starts playing its role. It makes you miserable. You cannot face, or you don't want to be in that circumstance at that moment. But you cannot avoid also.
So you should be able to be in such a relationship, in such a circumstance, and you should be very peaceful and very calm. And you should realize that this is an ex relationship. There's a lot of difference between a relationship and an ex relationship. Some people, they suffer because they continue to the relationship, which is an ex relationship. The relationship is an ex relationship, but you are still treating the relationship as a relationship. It's an ex relationship. Now, then you're ex. Then you relax now. Because you are still imagining the relationship to be live. No, it's no more. It's over. Physically, the tan ka tan samne hai. Body to body is there. But what did Rajesh tell you? Tan to hai, man se kaat do. Be in consciousness. Correct? You get the point. The person is here. You think it's a new person. You don't think it's just, don't. I know sometimes it's an old relationship. It's not easy, right? Sometimes it's a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year relationship with somebody, and the person comes in front of you and you feel uncomfortable. You feel like what to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, but you want liberation. You're not willing to give up your liberation. Are you willing to give up your liberation?
Not at any cost.
So when we are so resolute, people like on the Zoom call, people are very resolute. Resolute means no, I don't want to give up my liberation at any cost. So I have two options: give up liberation, give up relation. Some people give up liberation, some people give up relation. The point is, can we keep the relation and then keep the liberation? And that's fantastic. That's the first option. Chidanand said, he gave a name, he said, let's divinize it. Let's divinize the relationship so that the liberation happens. But if the relation is killing your liberation, then you have to make a choice. And if you make the foolish choice of giving up your liberation, don't think your relation will last too much. Because relationships which are toxic don't last. Ru, last question, Ru.
Thank you, sir.
Guruji, I feel if we are Shivam Guruji, I feel if we are having attachment, then we can continue.
Excellent. Good. Very good answer. This was said by somebody in the call, but did not elaborate so much. Somebody else mentioned it. If there's detached attachment, which means, Yogini, look at this, is a beautiful solution Ru is giving you. It looks like you are attached, but actually you are detached. Now, this is provided you are in the master's seat. But if you are detached attachment, but the other person is still poisoning your liberation, then it becomes difficult. So,
but
Ru,
that is his problem. That is not our problem then.
Yes, so therefore, as long as you can be in detached attachment and progress in liberation, then this is a good solution, a very good solution. That you looks like you're attached to in a relationship, but you remain detached inside. But sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes the relationship is the persons know you are detached attachment. The person comes to know that you're a phony. The person can say, no, this is not going to work. So, my dear friends, we have had an interesting discussion.
Relationship with God, the major relationship, and ignore the less relationship.
No, relationship is eternal. No, relationship with God, not relationship with God is liberation. We are not talking, a relationship with God is the most divine relationship. We are talking about earthly relationships which take us away from our liberation. So I think we have had a very interesting discussion. I think tomorrow subject is...
I shall give it a try, sir.
Yes, give it a try and try to... But remember, I'm just telling you, give it a try, but don't lose your liberation.
Right.
Don't lose your liberation at no cost. We will meet tomorrow for a very, very similar and interesting topic. Again, I bow down to you with folded hands.